Hi guys, welcome to Mamemeister's Highscore Kerfuffle Season 7. For anyone who hasn't seen this before, it's a weekly arcade game highscore challenge, and this season we're doing a different game from each year of the 90s, randomly selected from games submitted by each of the participants. Last week we were having a break between seasons with a champion's choice, selected by last season's winner, Graham. That was Hypersports, released by Konami in 1984. It was the follow-up to Konami's previous Track and Field, and has an unusual control scheme compared to other cabs at the time, just 3 buttons. Each event requires a different use of those buttons, whether it's rapid taps or time presses. I didn't have much time this week, and it's not my sort of game either, but I did get through a few events. Colin streamed this game, and it's a good watch. Check him out on Twitch. Hearing some tactics from others, it sounds like there's more depth to this game than you might expect. You can avoid breathing in the swimming, trigger extra bonuses in the shooting, and more. There were a few people who enjoyed this game, so let's take a look at the scores. Here are the scores I was sent this week. There are always fewer players between seasons, and there are 8 scores here. This game does take a bit of getting used to, and the higher places are really those that were already familiar with the game. The winner was always looking like it was going to come from one of Colin, Graham, or Paul, and each led at different points in the week. Ultimately, it was Colin who's finished 3rd, Graham in 2nd, and Paul taking the win. Is this an omen for what's to come this season? Let's see. Given the champion's choice is less competitive, there won't be any graphs this week, but they'll be back after our first game. I asked each of you for your best and worst games last season, and I got a good response. The most popular game this season was Bubbles, which got 4 votes for best game. I enjoyed this too, and given it's not that well known, I'd say it's a bit of a hidden gem. Also, no one chose it as their worst game, which wasn't the case for XDX's, which got 3 selections as best game, but also a vote for worst game. The least popular game, I doubt will get too many complaints, and that was Twin Eagle, which got 3 votes for worst game. Blockout also received 3 votes, but also 2 for the best game, so much more of a mixed bag. Blockout was my favourite game, and I was torn between iRobot, Exerion, and Twin Eagle as the worst, and I didn't get on with any of those. The season just gone, I wouldn't say was a classic in terms of games, but it wasn't a bad one either, with a few highlights, but no real heavy hitters. Now, let's find out what the first game of the season is. I've had 17 games sent to me, and I've trebled the chances of both Graham's selection for winning last season, and mine for taking the win on Blockout. The selections were quite diverse. No game got more than 2 votes, and Mercs, Parodius, Liquid Kids, and Snowbros were those that selected twice. Let's set things going, and see what we get. Okay, we're slowing down. Or could it be Parodius? Ah, very good. So yeah, I've been lucky. So we had Blockout at the end of last season, and after winning that, my choice has come up. So we've got Parodius, which should be well known to many of you. It's a cute-em-up, and it's a parody of Gradius. So we've got a side-scrolling shmup, but not a typical one. So I'll go make a video and be back in a sec.
Are you asking for a challenge?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
So the first game of Season 7 will be Parodius, released by Konami in 1990. Although not the first cute-em-up, it is one of the best known, and one of the few games that is a parody of another. I guess what I like about a cute-em-up is that it's taking the piss out of what is usually a pretty dry genre. They are also usually very Japanese in styling, which I enjoy too. The game is a parody of Gradius and borrows much of the stage design and enemy patterns, but the enemies themselves are replaced with cutesy characters, and your choice of ship is either the same Vic Viper as Gradius, or an octopus, Pentaroo the penguin, or Twinbee from the game of the same name, which was the first in the cute-em-up genre, also released by Konami back in 1985. Parodius borrows the bells from Twinbee, which if you shoot them a number of times, they change colour into power-ups, and every time you shoot them, they move across the screen, allowing you to keep them in play. Other than the cutesy graphics, it's standard Gradius fare, which is no bad thing, and the game plays nicely. As I said, it's not the first cute-em-up, but it's also not the first Parodius game either. The first game was released on the MSX, and maybe I'll get some footage of it for next week. For anyone new, the rules are in the description. We'll usually be playing with default settings. I'll specify the ROM each week, which in this case will be the world set 1 ROM, and generally don't cheat. such as using save states or continues, but Autofire is allowed unless specifically banned. For next week, please send me your games from 1991, and the deadline for score submissions is next Tuesday at 7 AM UK time. So I hope you all enjoy playing some Parodius, and I'll be back next week with the scores. See you then.